50-50 thing.
Uh-huh.
Coming to a relation, let's say any kind of human relationship, of course.
Uh-huh.
Let's say we are in a relationship, Berit, and how much is your side and how much is my side?
Yeah.
How much is it?
It should be 50-50.
All right. That I think is a very good example of how we see things. Actually, there is no 50. It is 100 or nothing.
So what
It
do you
is
mean?
my 100
Uh-huh.
and it is your 100. Okay. What I pick up on what you say is actually a very interesting topic, which I'm actually working on my group.
Uh-huh.
It is about self. It isn't about others. It is. It's actually, to me, of course, it is about the perception we have in what we feel others look at us or how they look at us. Of course, there are many situations. This is something that I wanted to say today, and I think now is a good time. Do you know what it means, fundamental attribution error?
Yes.
Anyone?
Chad, do you know, Sheila?
Fundamental attribution error?
No.
Basically, it's a no, it's not a theory. It's an example. Let's say it's a tool. Okay, I use it as a tool. It's a right tool for us to, where it says in psychology, it says that many of us make the assumption that everything is about our own personal behavior. And we always forget, or we don't pay attention in the circumstances, on what is going on, right? Mm-hmm. So, in other words, in the way I put it, it's I'm a good guy, right? But sometimes I have to be a very hard person or son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, because the situation requires that I have to be in that way for whatever reason, right? So, this is what I basically say when coming back to what you are saying, Berit. Sometimes is that we think the others are doing something, but is it really the other person or is the situation? What is it? So an example would be great in this moment, but in the end, if you are in between a relationship or either close relationship or emotional relationship or work relationship, if you're with someone which basically creates a situation where you've been bullied, or if you're not the situation but the person is really doing it, basically you have all the cards on your side to work it on your own. Not that someone else is perhaps what I see is the fault on ourselves is that we expect others to back off, or we expect others to change, we expect others to do something. There is nothing that I can wish on them. It's only about me, mm-hmm. right? So mm-hmm. if I create a situation, or if I'm between a situation, or you see, this is what I have to. I'm actually in this moment working on acquiring tools, because this same topic came up with my group, and it's about what you do is something similar, but it's what you do when you reach a point in your workplace where you find that you don't belong. So it's something very similar. It's that the not belonging, or the feeling of not belonging is that you basically are feeling that others are doing to you something, or you're not part of the herd, or you are talking a different language, and then you sometimes feel that you are pressure, or you are being undermined in some way, or it's always there is that kind of feeling that you're being done something. Mm-hmm. See, it's not the case. You're nobody's doing anything to you. It's just you have to basically work on your own and see things in a certain way, because if they are doing it to you, maybe you are doable. You know what I mean? You see, that to me, this is a very, very important thing, which is what you said. Someone said about self-worth, but it's not so easy to, in my point of view, I mean, the word of self-worth is great, but the concept, the complete concept, where you get it from, it's actually not so easy for someone who is not seeing it. You know what I mean? So you might know what it means, but it's not about meaning, it's about to have it. It's like faith, we talked about today, it's about having it or not having it. So if you don't have it, well, this is what's going to happen to you. I mean, this is what I say is, you are doable. You know what I mean? You are bullyable. You know what I mean? So,
and I mean,
yeah,
that is just my point. My point was that,
yeah,
how can we interact with one another? I mean, like you say, what are you doing right now? I'm making a 50-word program where I take a word that the clients have a word every week, and
yeah,
we look,
okay,
for instance, at kindness, and then we look at how do I feel about kindness, and
right.
how does someone else feel about kindness, and why is it that we don't always align? And I mean, when we are bullied, or when we are an outsider, or when we're not feeling, or we're not on track, it is exactly like you say, we're doable.
Yeah.
But the fact, I mean, what we're about in coaching and life is about,
Yes.
how can we support our clients where they're
Okay.
weak? So how do we help each other supporting the weakness? I mean, I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying that it is a weakness like that, because you can't be strong on all aspects of life. But how can we support and help each other where in our weakness? I mean, we each have a story. We're very unique.
Yes. Of course.
Do you follow where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Can I perhaps, when you were talking, it struck in my mind one little tool that I have. It's can you define horizon for me?
If I can what?
Horizon. If you can define horizon.
Something that rises up like the sun rises, or is that?
Yeah, the horizon. The horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
whole
what is
view.
the horizon?
It's your ability to see far, maybe.
Okay.
But
Or
like
in other words, if you look in the dictionary, it's the line that we see between the sky and the earth, right? It's
exactly.
the horizon.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
we can actually put it. We usually in this and this trade, we put it as also as a metaphorical way of saying that when the expansion or the way you have in front of you or something like that, right? So first and foremost, this one is a very interesting word, because horizon doesn't exist.
Because
it doesn't exist. You see it, but it's not there. You cannot touch it. It is not there. It is a word in every language which does not exist. The horizon does not exist. You cannot go there. It is just an illusion. It's just a mental word that we humans have created. This is what we can picture as ideal. And this is a perfect example of ideal. Okay, something that we believe exists, but it doesn't exist. Okay, so this is a very important topic for me to basically create around a tool for someone to see what are their ideals. And sometimes we have a picture in our head, or we have an ideal how things should be, that it is very important that we understand how it is. Not in the judgmental part, but yes, in the where you stand part, right? So in the hundreds upon hundreds of questions I ask someone, they always tell me horizon is something far away or something which is away from the person, the subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
But isn't it true that you are actually standing in the horizon?
Well, to me,
If
yes.
someone else view, yeah, of course.
Yes.
You are always standing in it. So if someone else is very far away and look at you, they will say, oh, you are actually in the horizon, in the line. So the important thing is how you see yourself. Are you the horizon of the little boy or little girl that was before? Are you standing in that horizon, if you want the metaphorical way?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you feel that you are the center of that horizon? You know, this is very important for you to understand where the person is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, to me, coming back to the topic I was talking last week, everything I will always go towards how the person can picture him or herself. You see, to me, the only help I can provide to someone is basically them to get the best ways or tools for them to basically visualize, see themselves, that I call.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be able to see themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You see, of course, it's very easy for us to see others, what the others do to us or the surroundings, but how can we see ourselves? And to me, that will be the best help that I can provide to someone, is different ideas and different stories. Yeah, I like to tell stories. And for instance, the story I always tell, and when I was a kid, I was amused by the history of Egypt. Right, Greece was earlier, and then it came to Egypt. When I found about the pyramids and the Sphinx and all that, and I read a lot about it. And one day I remember clearly, I decided, I really promised myself that one day I will go to Egypt. So, but more I read and more I read about Egypt, I was actually very far from going to Egypt, because many years later, I discovered that I was actually in the wrong business. I was in the business of knowing everything about Egypt, but I was not in the business of knowing everything about going to Egypt, which is two different businesses. See, I can know everything about Egypt, but if I decide to go to Egypt, I should be in the business of going to Egypt. Right? So why I say this, because this is a good example of what business are we? See, are you in the business of being, or are you in the business of doing something that you can? Mm-hmm. And this is extremely important that we understand, and we need to understand from our clients. Mm-hmm. Are they in the business of being really themselves, or are they in the business of doing the best they can of what they can? So this is basically it's a paradigm shift, or a different mind shift between where we stand. And to me, this around this, of course, this is not a very single topic. It is no one way to take it. It's really a large topic where all of us, definitely we have different tools to arrive to that. But in regards to what you asked, or your question, the topic today, what my take on that, it's always provide the best, because there is no best, but different options for someone to see her or himself, and also provide a clear vision of what the person could basically apply on herself and himself to look towards a solution, and the solution is start seeing itself or herself, himself or herself. This is to me, right?
I hear what you're saying. I think that I think that what you're saying is that the most important thing is that we are able to see ourselves in the story that we're creating and
Yes.
trying to feel what we feel in that story, and knowing that we are responsible for creating the story with the feelings
Yes.
that we're feeling.
Yes.
So if
And
we take that and we then say, what should the block then be? Last week we had the block, the angle of reason. So if we should build on that, this time, what should we call it this time?
it could be
The mirror of reflection?
actually, I would put it more. I think it would be more interesting for a blog post. Is I don't have it yet in my head, but it will be more related of where we stand.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit shortened, but it's like more with a question mark in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really know where we stand, or something like that?
Huh?
Yeah.
And that is actually a good question.
Yeah,
Sheila, Brenda, you're here right now. Brenda, you're hosting something. Do you have any questions for Gabrielle today?
Not yet. Thank you.
Okay.
I will in time. Thank you very much. Hello, Gabrielle.
Hi, Brenda.
Hello.
All right. I can't see you today.
No, I've got a problem with video.
Okay.
Yeah,
no
sorry.
problem. It's
Yeah.
okay. I hear you well. It's fine. Okay. If you have any question, just shoot, and then we will do
I
a
will
ping pong
indeed.
for a while. Yeah. Sure. And actually, this is around this. It's very interesting to talk about where we stand, because without that, at least to me, this is my own point of view. Without that, we lose our perception. Did you know that? Okay, let me ask you something. Do you know where is the brain of our cells?
Oh, hopefully in the head, but some would probably say it's in the heart.
I mean, I'm talking about a cell. You know, the cell has it's a unique, and then they have a nucleus.
Okay.
A cell.
Yeah.
What do you think is the brain?
Oh my. That is a good question.
Yeah. Biology 101.
Yes.
Yeah. But actually, this is a very tricky question, because if in every organism, basically the nucleus or the brain will be basically the thinking or the main processor, right? Which in our cells, our what make us, it is not the nucleus. It is not the brain. Okay, and the brain of our cells is the membrane. What cover? Okay, so without membrane, actually, there is no cell. Okay, that makes sense. But you have you can have a no nucleus. It's called acephalus or something like that. It's you have a cell without nucleus. You can still it can still live. All right. So why I say this, because there is something very interesting about perception. Okay, our perception, our way of perceiving things, it comes mainly from our senses, of course, and mainly our skin. You see, our body is equipped by a lot of sensors, right? And we know exactly how much of fluids we need to keep because of how the weather is going to be from now to whatever days in future. Okay, so the body is constantly storing and doing all the algorithm, right, for our body to keep as much as possible for us to survive or to be in the way we need to be for as long as possible, according to what the body perceives constantly. All right, so this is an extremely hard equation that our body is doing all the time, right? So our skin is actually part of our brain, and it's exactly the same. Of course, we have a brain, but our skin is connected directly. And actually, when we are conceived, actually the membrane around is basically what is is actually connected with what is going to become the brain. Okay, it's part of it. Okay, so why I say this? Because we have a very, very high sensitive way of perceiving. And it's not only by our senses, it's not only our brain. And this brings me to a topic that most humans can basically use only 10%, if lucky, all right, and about our conscious brain or decision making, right? Our brain is much larger than that, but it is actually managing the whole body, everything, every cell function and every hormone secretion and everything with the same brain. But actually the brain that is talking now from me is only about maximum 10%. So, and everything comes, and we think that everything we perceive is what we understand with our brain, whatever our conscious brain, but it's not. We perceive much more than that. And there are a lot of things that basically we perceive that we cannot even talk about. We cannot express ourselves, right? And this is basically something that I always try to see in people is how far, how detached they are from their reality. So my reality could be that I'm in Argentina now, going to winter, and that could be my reality. But basically, there are many other realities where it makes me who I am, right? So how the important thing is, and depending on how I behave or how I feel things are around me, is how I perceive I'm being, right, in my surroundings and what I do. And this is exactly what is happening to us. Is there is a lot of disconnection of that mechanism of perceiving, and there are a lot of things that we have to understand that our body do it for us, and we basically are full of actually are energetic beings, right? Who are constantly moving particles and resonating, and there is a certain frequency that comes from me, and I'm definitely expelling and attracting different people, right, and different situations as well. So this is something, of course, I don't want to get into the very, astrophysical kind of stuff, but what happens is that many things that are happening to us, right, it's because of who we are, right? So coming back to what we are saying, and the topic not going away, actually I went for a second and coming back saying that most of things that are happening to us, it's good that we actually learn to see the result. So we basically can manage the result in the best possible scenario. And we have to learn to see how bad we are, how ugly we are, and what we produce in others. So that basic mirror, right, it will give me, I'm actually among that. I like to see how ugly I am, but not in the sense that I just seeing it, but basically accepting the fact that I'm ugly in many ways, right?
Do you mean, excuse me, Gabriel,
yeah,
do you
yes.
mean, do you, this is Brenda,
Mm-hmm.
do you mean ugly, or do you mean as human beings we are flawed? Because as a law of attraction coach, I
Yes.
believe that we are human beings, we are pure energy.
Yes.
Aren't we? We are just pure energy. To be
Yes.
human is that we actually emanate energy towards
Yes.
others, and
Yes.
others emanate energy towards us.
Yes.
And therefore we attract like with like, don't we?
Yes.
And
Yes. All the
but
time.
we are flawed, so we need to be aware of our flaws, but we accept them with gratitude, because that is part of our, well, it's part of who we are. That's
Yes,
part
of
of the
course.
package. Yeah.
Yes, it's part of the package. That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
what you say is very interesting. I'm calling ugliness because this is what it is. You in your world, it's actually called frequencies. Okay.
Yes.
We have frequencies, different frequencies, right?
Yeah.
So my frequency that basically, let's say, is more it is a faster. Let's say it's if I emanate a faster frequency, maybe it's a frequency that is not good for you.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it will be ugly for you.
Yeah, but I won't stick around.
So I need to hear something here. So what
Yeah.
you're saying is that, Brenda, if we take the law of attraction, if we take what Gabrielle says, then what we're saying is that when we meet people that don't bring out the good in us, or they don't bring out the smile in us, then what? Then do we withdraw? Or what is it that we do in order to continue? I mean, what if I see that I bring out something bad in someone, or ugly, or it brings out the ugly in me?
Yes.
How do I take myself further from that?
Well, in my way, basically, it will depend on how much I want to learn
exactly
from that situation.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
So
I learned over the years that it's very difficult for us humans, or we should not repress emotions. Okay,
I agree.
It is
would you explain that?
Very bad for us humans. Yeah. It is. It's actually really counterproductive, or against us, or it's unhealthy. Okay, that is the right word. It's unhealthy for us to repress emotions.
Yeah.
Number one. Okay, so that will bring me to another topic, but this one is repressing emotion is not what we want, but we want to understand them.
Yeah.
Right, and be in touch with them. Okay, the question is, why do you jump in that situation? This is the only thing you have to answer yourself. Right, and then you have to really work on it, and you have to deal with it. Right, nobody should put you in a corner. Nobody. Right. So if someone does, well, work on yourself, not in trying to let the other person know how bad the person is.
No, actually, but for yourself.
Yeah, for yourself, for myself. Yeah. Of course, there is always a way, right, to talk to others, right? Yeah. So it's a common understanding. And then but this is basically practicing Tai Chi. Have you seen Kung Fu Panda #1? No, yes. Number two. Okay. In the beginning, it comes the drop, and then they come and then do the Tai Chi of the. Okay, this is basically once again, the ideal. Okay, which is a very hard word, but for me, in my world, but it's something that we should tend to. But basically, we need to manage our own energy and the different frequencies that we basically are at, and depending on the stages of life, I couldn't be. I imagine myself 30 years ago. I couldn't be sitting in front of people talking about what I feel. It would be impossible for me to do that. Okay, because of the frequency I was actually vibrating that time.
That's
right. It wouldn't be possible. But today is what I want to do. So in maybe 10 years down the road, it will be different. But today is what I enjoy, and it's what I meant to do. And this is basically the thing. So maybe my ugliness, all right, it will make something for me. I have to shape my energy. I have to shape myself. And this is all the things. What I'm trying to say, Brenda, coming back again to the analogy that I said about the ugliness, is why I say I keep it an ugliness, because I have to be accustomed to see that dark side for me to understand that it's dark, and it's for me to work on it. And it's like a reminder. I like to remind myself that I have things to do on myself. Right. Because I can never think that the house is already built and done. Never. So
No.
I always picked up things that I really see that are dark. I like to see the dark on me, because I this will be shaping myself, shaping my energies, shaping every aspect of myself, and there is never ending story. This is one thing I changed, or actually I incorporated myself. It's that scene of, or I don't decide to reach anywhere. Yeah, before I was like trying to reach somewhere, and this is
No.
nonsense.
Yeah.
There's nonsense. There's no
Yeah.
way. It is
Yeah.
always in satisfaction. You see,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
never be
Yeah.
satisfied, because you will never reach anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending story. So that
Absolutely.
never-ending story is actually it's learning about all the steps and seeing yourself. Not about learning, but it's seeing yourself, because we are more dynamic than that. Actually, language is very rudimentary. We should actually talk with our brains. That would be the awesome, right? Because we can open channels of communication, not just one way, one word after the other, which is very like a prehistoric way of communicating, right? So it's
Sure.
like very slow. We should actually transfer the whole data, right? Poof, and then my brain to your brain. Poof, that's it. And then everything is everything in various dimensions, right? This is the way you should actually communicate. It is because
Gabriel,
yes,
yeah, I'm aware that this is probably about me, so I accept that right at the start. But
yes,
I'm having difficulty connecting with your use of the word ugly.
okay.
I
Okay.
understand what you're
Yes.
talking about, but
Yes.
I can words are powerful, aren't they?
I will need to say that I will have to make a call that we can call in on again, because we only have 1 minute left.
Oh,
All of you.
I'll shut up.
So no, don't do, Brenda, because what I will do as soon as it quits us is just that I will make a new Zoom call, and I will
okay.
send you everyone the call to call.
Okay.
So
okay.
there's 1 minute left. So go ahead. But as soon as it cuts, I
Okay.
will make a new one. So you get
Okay.
a new one straight away.
All right.
Thank you,
All right.
Berit.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes, so words are powerful, and I just think that in the Western world in particular, there's a lot of judgment about what is beauty and what is ugly.
That is the thing.
Do you see?
Yes.
So for me, as a law of attraction coach in particular,
you got it. You already got it.
Yeah,
You already got it. Okay. It's about irony.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got it. It's ironic.
Exactly.
It's ironic.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just ironic. I like to be ironic with myself, because basically I know what, or at least I can identify what is beautiful to me, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can identify what is beautiful for oneself, right?
Yeah.
And of course, what beauty for me maybe is not for you, but it's very subjective, right? And the word ugly is like a slap in the face, and I like that. I like that. I like to remind myself that I'm just a human.
I get it. Yeah.
So the flaws is too